Hello and welcome to the Stress Mastery Podcast. I am your host every Saturday, and my name is Peggy Romero. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so happy you're here. So this week we've been talking about creation. And I was just thinking the other day about how much of my life I spent believing and telling people, oh, I'm not creative. But I've grown since then. And you know what? I realize I really am creative. I'm really creative. In fact, I have a massive amount of creativity. It's actually a blessing that I was born with naturally. So, just to tell you, I've already done today's podcast once. In fact, I did a great interview with a guy named Ken Merrill. He was a fellow agent of mine from my past life at Allstate, and he said he'd help me out this week. I've been really intrigued with him because he has a fantastic life and he's recreated himself over and over. So, of course, I wanted to talk to him about it. But unfortunately, I didn't record it. I guess I forgot to hit the record button. It wasn't technology's fault this time. And the show must go on. So here I am creating a podcast for you. So doing this after not thinking about it all week is really outside of my comfort zone because I'm a planner, but here we go. Of course, I'm going to talk to you about creating a life that you love because my life's in transition. So I want yours to be too, constantly progressing. In order to create a life that we love, first we have to know what we want. And that's really important. And we have to know what our purpose is because the knowing is going to come, the knowing in your heart is going to come from your purpose. It all comes from knowing and our knowing what our values are and like knowing in our spirit who we are. In the end, if you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure that you realize it's not a bigger house or fancy clothes or, a brand new car. To have the life that we love is so much more than the things that we can buy, the things that we have. To create the life you love, you really have to get to know yourself deep down inside. Got to know your purpose. If you're like me, which you probably are, if you haven't been working on yourself for a long time, there's so much stuff buried down in there that it's kind of hard to know who you really are. It's hard to be honest enough with yourself to bring up the good, bad, and the ugly. Of course, we're always going to shine up the good stuff, polish ourselves up, and put our mask on, but we got to let the bad stuff go away too. And we don't need to be carrying trash around anyways, right? Let those old programs go. Creating the life that you desire takes time, and you have to really want to do it. You have to work on all 5 life categories: career, finance, health, personal and spiritual development, as well as your relationships. And we can't just bounce around and work willy-nilly on stuff because otherwise we'll get out of balance. So I was just talking to a friend of mine that I know from Allstate. She called me just out of the blue to see if I was interested in working with her. She's starting a nonprofit. So she's met me many times, so she knows who I am. She doesn't know me really well, but she does follow me on social media. So she sees my posts and she sees what I've been doing since I left my life at Allstate. And she knows that I have a nonprofit. And so our purposes align in the nonprofit. And I'm a vitality purpose. So I always want to raise up the vibration of everybody around me. So that includes her too. So I want people to be happy even if I don't know them. So I had this long-term plan, like in my heart. It's just not out on paper yet, that I would love to start a home for women in transition, perhaps, divorced, leaving a domestic violence situation, maybe just, moving out of their parents' house. And it was maybe a family that they didn't learn their life skills. I got this idea probably 15, 20 years ago. I want to call it the dream house. I've just had that in my heart. So when they come in, welcome home. As they walk through the door, this is the dream house you've always wanted. And it would be a way that they could create their new life. So I know that it's a lofty goal, but you see how God works. Somebody just calls me randomly and asks me if I want to work on a house with her. She wants to do it for children, but that certainly doesn't go against my plan at all because I had kids in mind when I was creating the vision of the dream house. And I was telling Jen about this retreat that I'm having in Santa Fe this coming fall. I am planning a wellness and yoga retreat in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So excited. I already have a couple girls on board, including a few girls from Stress Mastery. So she was telling me that she would love to come to that because she said, my life gets so out of balance. I'm always working and thinking and planning and taking care of my kids. And it just reminded me, what a perfect podcast, because we all need to create balance in our lives. So part of creating our purpose life is going to be creating balance. So while you're creating the life you've always dreamed of, even if it's full of everything you've ever wanted, it's still a balancing act, because you're still going to need balance. You have to be able to sleep, eat healthy, and all the things that you need to do to take care of yourself. You're going to have to drink water and, make sure that you're eating the right diet. You need to move your body every day. You'll have to keep your finances in order, even if you have a whole bunch of money. Whether you have a lot or a little, it's a balancing act. You have to balance your budget. You have to balance what you're spending compared to what you're saving. And then we've got our relationships. I have to admit, when I was talking to Kenny earlier today, I could feel my heart activate. I could just feel this slump when he said, my kids have always been the most important thing to me. I always put them before my work. Well, of course, I was activated for a second, because my big problem was that I put my career first when I was an insurance agent. I was so stuck in fear and strive and force that my job was actually the most important thing. It ruled every aspect of my life. My health, my finances, all of my time. Every spare minute was spent thinking about what I was going to do. And boy, did my relationship with my kids and my siblings suffer. So we also have to take time for personal and spiritual development, because that's part of that balancing act too. We've got to grow. They say if you're not growing, you're dying. We don't want to be the same person next week, next year, or in 10 years from now as we are today. I mean, why would we want to stay stagnant when we have this whole beautiful life in front of us? That'd be crazy. So we've got to create balance in our life, all 5 life categories. And I'm a big believer in schedules. So make a plan to grow. It's not that hard. You just got to plan on it. If you've ever listened to my podcast, you already know I love my to-do list. So here's a to-do for you. Go through each of your 5 life categories and tell yourself honestly, are you where you want to be? Is your job the job of your dreams? Do you wish that you could take a class maybe, or get a raise or a promotion? Or maybe you want to do something else. Maybe you're not even in the right field. Are you connected to your purpose at work? So talking to Jen today was so exciting, because I could hear how excited she was. She likes her job that she has. She really does. It's just fine. But this new idea that she's working on, wow, she's crazy. She loves it. So this is a new nonprofit that's going to change the lives of a whole bunch of kids. And it just makes her happy. I could see her joy. And I love that kind of energy. I guess my vitality purpose resonates with that. So of course, now I'm super excited and I can't wait to talk to her again. And we're going to meet and figure out some stuff. And I also want to meet with her to see what her purposes and values are. So we'll do that when I get up to Portland. So also, part of creating the life you desire, you got to take a look at your finances. Do you have a budget that you stick to? Is it balanced? And are you getting what you want out of your life with your money? Or are you spending money on a bunch of stuff that you really weren't planning on spending it on? I'm a big believer in emergency fund. So do you have enough money to cover all your expenses for a couple of months in case something goes haywire? And hey, while you're balancing a budget or figuring out a budget, do you have money in there for vacation? I mean, when my kids were young, even if we could just go to the beach for a day or save up some money to go camping, that was our budget. So it's all part of balance. We have to pay our bills, but we also have to do things in life that will rejuvenate us. Okay, so 3rd life category, health. I feel like I've finally turned a corner with this one. Finally. I know I'm kind of slow at some things, but it's really right here for me. So I've changed my life so drastically that a lot of people didn't want to come along for the ride. It hurts. I'm really sad that I lost some friends. I love people. I'm not shy at all, but it's still a lot harder to make new friends when you're 61. So maybe that's why I was holding on to my people. I'm not sure. I actually think it's because I love them. But listen to this. So I don't know exactly, where this came from, but apparently it's a quote that Anthony Hopkins stated, but it wasn't his work originally. So just as long, it's not mine. So it says, let go of people who are not prepared to love you. This is the hardest thing you will have to do in your life. And it will also be the most important. Stop having conversations with people who don't want to change. Stop showing up for people who have no interest in your presence. I know your instinct is to do everything to earn the appreciation of those around you. but it's a waste of your energy and your health and your physical strength. When you begin to fight for life with joy and trust and commitment, not everyone will be ready to follow you to this place. That doesn't mean you need to change what you are. It means you should let go of the people who aren't ready to accompany you there. Wow. You guys, I hate letting people go, but that sure did open up my eyes. I'm realizing now that it's not right to hold on to those people. I mean, it's attachment to the past. I don't need to be attached to the past. I need to move into my future with flexibility. I guess I thought that having old friends meant that I was flexible and that maybe that I'm a good person. I'm not sure, but I'm really seeing completely differently finally. So we're just not aligned anymore. So I have to be willing to let people go, because I'm telling you, it's like trying to stay in the past and trying to move to the future. It's like this 20,000-pound anchor is just pulling you down. It's awful. Anyways, so I have speaking, this is still in relationships. I had this big conversation with someone just this week. In the end, she threw her arms up and actually said, "Peggy, I give up on you." Turned around and stomped away. I'm not kidding, a grown woman. All of this was because I told her that I didn't want to go to a certain restaurant because there's nothing there to eat on my diet plan. It's not for a cheat day. She just couldn't understand that my health is the most important thing to me. So she tried and tried and tried to talk me into it. And I just said, "I'm sorry that you don't understand that going out to eat with friends is not as important to me as eating healthy." Sorry. The really cool thing is I was able to just walk away and not even be upset over it. Yay me. I've had a few surgeries in the past few years, and I had never been sick in my life before that. And I don't want another surgery. But the deal is, God's trying to make me wake up. So I think I better listen, don't you? Okay, so the last of the 5 life categories is personal and spiritual development. So what are you doing to develop yourself personally and spiritually? How's your relationship with God? Do you have one, or a higher power? I mean, you're getting your strength from somewhere. Perhaps it's just the universe. But you also need to have personal development. I mean, can you look yourself in the eye, in the mirror, and say, "I love you"? So I heard about this thing. I don't remember where, but the high five habit. I just heard of it this week. It's probably old. I'm a little bit behind on the times of personal development, but I just started it a few days ago. So every day you high five yourself in the mirror. I'm trying to make a habit of it. It's really kind of fun, like smile and say, "Right on, you're doing amazing." So this is going to be a new habit that I'm creating. So I highly suggest that. It will help you grow. And, you know, we each have the opportunity every single day to be better. And life's going to throw obstacles in your past, but that's okay. I mean, if you don't have a mirror that day, maybe you can find a mud puddle to like high five yourself. I don't know, but do it anyways. Just don't let boulders that are really just little obstacles become an excuse to not move forward. Create the life you want by creating balance. And remember, it's okay. Other people who are important to you may not take the journey with you. And I'm sorry for that if they don't, but you can't try and drag them with you, because it's just going to make it harder to come up the hill if you've got all these people trying to hold you back. And there's so many new people that you're going to meet in your new life. People that will have different things that they love, and you'll end up finding that you have other things in common with them. People that will love you just as much as your old people did. I think it's crazy that I never thought in a million years that I would lose friends just because I became a better person, but I did. And when people from my past see me, they're like, "Wow, she's really calm." I mean, they're talking good about me behind my back, but I've spent a lot of time on myself. And I still get lots of work done. I still make my goals and I still accomplish them. I mean, I published a book last year. That's pretty good. I work on my social media. I just don't do it stressed out. I don't have to live in force and strife and fight. Oh my gosh, you guys, I used to yell so much. My poor kids, I was a yeller. Now I can't even imagine myself yelling at anyone. It doesn't even seem like it would have been me. It's crazy. My kids always try to get me to like react to things. And they're like, dang, mom, it's really funny. Anyways, my old people in my past life, unfortunately, they're never going to hear this podcast. They've not read my book. They don't look at my social media. They don't want to go on a wellness retreat with me, which they should. Well, I don't know if they should, but they would love it if they did. They no longer know me. And you know why? Because this Peggy Romero today is no longer that Peggy. I am finally the person I've always wanted to be. I'm creating the life of my dreams, step by step, one goal at a time, by being flexible, living on purpose, creating good habits. It helps create a life that works for me. I am creating new friendships and new experiences. I am releasing the past, letting go of all those programs that don't serve me. I've talked about it before. It's like trying to climb the mountain up to your goal up on the hill with 1,000,000 pounds in your backpack. You can't do it. You can't take your past life with you to your future. That's it. So let go of your old programs, lack, regret, I can't. Start telling yourself, I'm not a victim, I'm a winner. I've been raising my self-worth up lately. It's bit by bit, but I'm growing leaps and bounds right now. My self-image is so much better than it used to be. And I really am creating the life of my dreams. It's the life that God intended me to have. It's a fantastic life. I don't need to live in fear of failure anymore. I mean, everybody has a little bit of fear of failure, but if you fall, just get back up. If you know in your heart what your plan is, like for me, the plan that God has for me, then I don't have to worry about what's going to happen because I know everything's okay. So here's one really crazy thing about the surgery that I had. A couple of years ago, the doctor comes in and says, oh, you only have a 35% chance. You have a 35% chance of not waking up from the surgery. I'm like, wow, okay. So I remember going into that surgery thinking, well, God, am I going to see you today? Like I made sure that I had all my affairs in order. And I mean, they already were in order, but I just made sure everybody knew where my stuff was. I wasn't scared though. I just thought, wow, if I die, I'll see God. And if I don't, oh my gosh, what great plans does he have for me? Here I am. I'm ready. So last year, they randomly find this tumor and 3 different oncologists tell me that they believe I have cancer. Well, not only that, but it took them 2 months to find a surgeon that was capable of doing it. It was like some specialty thing. So this whole time that this was going on, from July clear till mid-September, I was able to hold peace in my heart, a state of peace. I just really thought that if God had saved me from that other surgery, that he wanted me to create something fantastic. And I have many, many plans. So don't get me wrong. I'm not, waiting the idea. I'm working on ideas as we speak. I just didn't think that he brought me that far to drop me and let me, die 2 years later. So for those months, I created a knowing that God had me for a better purpose. And so I would lay hands on myself and say, God, thank you for healing me. I pictured every day these golden orbs coming in. I had one hand on my upper thigh and one on my pelvis because that's where the tumor was going. And I would just picture it shrinking and thanking God for healing me. You guys, I'm telling you, I created healing in my body because I knew that God wanted to save me for a better purpose. He's saving me for this very day. He's saving me for this creative energy that he gave me because I have so many ideas. I'm very creative and I can't wait to see how they all play out. I'm elated that Jen called me today and asked me to work on the project with her. I mean, you see how things happen? I was just minding my own business, trying to think about what I was going to write the new podcast on. And just like that, she calls me. She knew I had a nonprofit. She could see my social media. She heard a few of my podcasts, but she had no idea that I was dreaming of creating a dream house. And she calls me and tells me that she wants to start a project of a house for kids. Wow. Of course, I don't want to go work at a place every day, but I would love to start up the house. I would love to go there and do a special project. I would love to go there and give a kid a hug, make sure they have Christmas presents. but I'm not the admin day-to-day girl. That's not me. I don't want to do that. So once again, it's like, here I am, Lord, send me. I'll help her get it started. Sounds good. So I know I've kind of been all over the place with this podcast, creating the life you love, creating a life that serves your purpose, creating balance in your life, and all 5 life categories, creating the diet that you want, talking about your job and exercise programs and relationships and finances. But you guys, it's because we need to do all of it. It's a balancing act, creating the life of your dreams. You have to plan on it. I guess some people just have it, but most of us do have to plan it. But we can do it, guys. We can finally be the person that we were always meant to be. Excuse me. There's my shameless plug for my book. If you're interested in my book, go to PeggyRomero.com. We'll send you a signed copy. And I just can't wait to get working on all my projects. I cannot wait till I get to interview Kenny Merrill again. Not sure what we're going to be talking about next time, but we will figure it out. You guys, if you need any help with goal setting stuff, the purpose exercise, what kind of diet you're supposed to be eating, we have all of that in the Stress Mastery community. It's free for 30 days, chock full of awesomeness. Go in and get what you need. If you have any certain questions, you can reach us there, or you can contact me at PeggyRomero.com. And I hope that you're following me on social media. I am Peggy with Purpose. I'm trying my best to make an interesting website for myself. I have recipes and other articles and posts in there. Once again, guys, thank you so much for listening today. And I hope that this podcast helped you create the life that you have always desired. Remember, live every day on purpose. Our mission here is to create a shift in the planet. And you can join us on the mission by simply like, share, and subscribe. The links are right below the show notes. As always, until next time, stay inspired.